The first episode opens with a mysterious voice encouraging someone to do what they want with their life. This sets a tone of personal freedom and introspection for the narrative. We're introduced to Leo Demonheart, a former hero who has voluntarily returned to the demon castle. He's nervous but determined, showing a mix of courage and vulnerability. Leo enters a room where Queen Echidna and the four generals are present. He approaches, trying to maintain his composure, knowing that this moment could determine his future. Leo introduces himself boldly, listing his skills and accomplishments, including defeating Queen Echidna. He asks to join the demon army, citing their current struggles and shortage of soldiers, hoping to find a new purpose. The demons react with shock and refusal. Leo persists, offering to help in various ways, even menial tasks, demonstrating his willingness to do whatever it takes. Leo begins to narrate his backstory. He explains how, in the previous year, Queen Echidna's army invaded the human world, and he was part of an elite team sent to stop them, showcasing his deep involvement in the conflict. He describes his exceptional skills and how he found his teammates to be a burden, eventually leaving them to defeat Echidna and her army alone. This decision reveals both his confidence and isolation. Leo recounts his victories over each of the four generals, starting with Edward, the dragon general known as the Crimson Roar. His detailed recollection emphasizes his prowess and strategic mind. He then describes his battle with Mearns, the Invisible Blade, a half-human, half-demon assassin. Their encounter was a test of stealth and precision, highlighting Leo's versatility in combat. Next, he talks about his encounter with Lily, the Fierce Claw, general of the Beastkin, which led to a comical misunderstanding. This moment adds a touch of humor to his otherwise serious tale. Finally, he recounts his battle with Shatina, the almighty sorceress, whom he defeated by sealing both their magical powers. This battle showcases his ingenuity and ability to outthink his opponents. The generals express their curiosity about how Leo defeated each of them, leading to some lighthearted banter. This interaction shows a shift from hostility to a potential camaraderie. Shatina asks Leo why he wants to join the demon army, given his history as their enemy. Her question probes into Leo's motivations, revealing the depth of his character. Leo explains that after defeating the demon army and returning to the holy city of Renaya, he was met with hostility and fear from the people he saved. This reaction from the citizens highlights the complex nature of heroism. He describes how rumors spread about him being dangerous, leading to assassination attempts. These events underline the tragic consequences of his heroic actions. Leo recounts being summoned by the king and exiled from the kingdom, despite his service. This exile adds a layer of betrayal to his already tumultuous journey. Feeling betrayed and purposeless, Leo wandered as a homeless vagabond until he overheard people talking about the demon army recruiting new soldiers. This moment of eavesdropping rekindles a sense of hope within him. Leo explains that he realized the demon army was the only place that might accept him, so he prepared and made the journey to join them. His determination to find acceptance drives him forward. Shatina acknowledges Leo's sincerity but puts him on a 1-month probationary period, warning him that Queen Echidna must not know about his presence. This probation period adds a sense of urgency and secrecy to his mission. The generals describe the various tasks needed to rebuild the demon army, revealing their own struggles and incompetencies. Their candidness about their challenges creates an atmosphere of mutual reliance. Shatina explains that if Leo succeeds in his probation, they will ask Queen Echidna to officially accept him into their ranks. This conditional acceptance sets the stage for Leo's integration into the demon army. Leo reflects on the challenges ahead in rebuilding the demon army and expresses his desire to question Echidna about her motives for avoiding unnecessary casualties during invasions. His reflections reveal his thoughtful and strategic mind. The episode ends with Leo affirming his determination to join the demon army. His resolve marks a pivotal moment in his quest for redemption. The second episode begins in a bustling demon castle, where we meet Leo, a new and enthusiastic recruit eager to prove himself. It's early morning, and Leo's ready to tackle the day head-on. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Shatina, a powerful demon mage who's part of the four leaders. Poor Shatina is swamped with work and struggling to keep up with all her responsibilities. Queen Echidna, the big boss, is putting pressure on everyone to rebuild the demon army quickly, and Shatina's feeling the heat. Leo offers to help Shatina by taking on the task of refilling magical furnaces. He's confident he can do it in just 2.5 hours. Shatina is skeptical of Leo's abilities and doesn't trust him fully. She's muttering to herself about not trusting anyone. We learn some backstory. The demon army is in desperate need of new soldiers and workers after a devastating attack. Most of the high-ranking officers have returned to the demon world to recover, leaving the remaining leaders, the four, to handle all the work. Leo explains his plan to help Shatina. He's created a talisman that allows other demons to refill the magical furnaces, effectively delegating the task and reducing Shatina's workload. Queen Echidna is shown discussing Shatina's well-being with other demons, worried about her overworking herself. Leo returns, having completed the task in just 30 minutes. He's adopted a new persona, calling himself Dark Knight Onyx, to better fit in with the demon army. Dionet, a demon soldier, reports on the success of using Leo's talisman to refill the magical furnaces. Shatina is surprised and impressed by the efficiency of the new system. Leo explains in detail how he created the talisman and organized a team to handle the furnace-filling task. He emphasizes the importance of trusting subordinates and delegating work in a large organization. Shatina realizes her mistake in not trusting others and apologizes to Leo. She acknowledges his hard work and expresses gratitude for his help. In a comedic moment, Leo reminds Shatina of his earlier prediction that she'd be so grateful she'd kiss him. This results in Shatina angrily throwing him out of the room. The episode concludes with Shatina calling Leo back. She informs him about a new mission involving Lily, who has been sent on a supply run to Largo. The situation seems more serious than initially thought, setting up potential conflict for future episodes. Episode 3 opens with a description of the Sea of Largo, a beautiful tropical paradise with many unexplored islands. It's described as a place rich in flora, fauna, and valuable minerals, where ancient ruins are slowly being reclaimed by the jungle. We're introduced to Leo, who sarcastically comments about enjoying a vacation in this paradise. Instead, he's chasing after someone. The scene shifts to a conversation between Leo and Shatina. Shatina explains that Lily will be heading to the Sea of Largo on a supply mission. She reveals that the demons have a strong alliance with the inhabitants of the Largo Islands, known as Draconites. This alliance is pivotal for their strategic operations against human forces. Shatina provides background on the Draconites. They were once allied with demons but were persecuted by humans, leading them to flee to the Largo Islands. Now they live peacefully, away from human influence. Their history of persecution creates a bond of solidarity between them and the demon army. It's explained that the Draconites' support is crucial for the demon army's ability to resist human forces. Leo is tasked with helping ensure the supplies are delivered. Shatina shows Leo Lily's mission plan, which is childishly drawn and lacks detail. She explains that despite having enough soldiers, Lily is behind schedule. The lack of organization in Lily's plan highlights her inexperience and need for guidance. Leo suggests sending Edward, a Draconite, instead. Shatina refuses, saying Edward is needed to protect the castle and would likely take on all the work himself, preventing Lily from learning. This decision underscores the importance of Lily gaining practical experience and growing as a leader. The scene shifts to the Largo Islands. Leo chases after Lily, who's treating the supply delivery like a race or game. Her carefree attitude contrasts with the seriousness of the mission, adding tension to their dynamic. Leo realizes that at this rate, they won't finish the job on time. He starts to formulate a plan to teach Lily about proper task distribution and teamwork. His strategic thinking aims to turn this chaotic situation into a learning opportunity for Lily. Leo pretends to be bitten by a poisonous snake to create a situation where Lily needs to seek help and work with others. His plan is to force her into a scenario where cooperation is essential. This drastic measure shows Leo's desperation to teach her an important lesson. Lily rushes off to find medicinal herbs, encountering a series of challenges set up by Leo. Each obstacle tests her resourcefulness and determination. Her journey through these trials highlights her tenacity and adaptability. Despite Leo's expectations, Lily overcomes each challenge through sheer determination and unconventional methods, rather than seeking help as intended. Her success surprises Leo and demonstrates her independent problem-solving skills. This outcome forces Leo to reconsider his approach. Lily returns with the herbs, believing she's saved Leo. Leo, realizing his plan has failed, is amazed by Lily's perseverance. Her unwavering commitment to completing the task impresses him, despite his initial doubts. To Leo's surprise, Lily shows him a drawing of a new work plan she devised, inspired by advice from a stranger who was actually Leo in disguise. This plan incorporates better task distribution and teamwork. Leo's indirect influence on Lily's thinking proves more effective than his direct interventions. Leo realizes that he underestimated Lily. She understood the importance of teamwork. She just needed to be asked directly rather than taught through elaborate scenarios. This revelation changes his perspective on how to mentor her. The new plan is implemented, and the team finishes their work much faster. Lily expresses her understanding of the importance of teamwork. The episode concludes with Shutina informing Leo that he's been summoned by Queen Echidna, suggesting his true identity might have been discovered. This summons introduces a new layer of intrigue and potential conflict. The looming meeting with the Queen adds a sense of urgency and suspense for the next episode. The fourth episode opens with a character, likely our protagonist, engaged in combat. They describe themselves as a long-awaited savior, but note that people look at them with superstitious fear rather than joy. Despite this, they affirm their commitment to protecting people and saving the world. The scene shifts as the character wakes up, revealing the previous sequence was a nightmare. Our protagonist, who we later learn is Leo disguised as the Dark Knight Onyx, receives a summons from Queen Echidna. He's worried she might have discovered his true identity. His anxiety grows as he contemplates the potential consequences of being unmasked. Leo, as Onyx, enters Echidna's chambers. To his surprise and discomfort, she invites him to an intimate dinner and drinking session. The unexpected invitation puts him on high alert. Echidna insists that Onyx remove his helmet. In a moment of panic, he barely manages to alter his appearance enough to avoid detection. His quick thinking and use of magic save him from immediate exposure. As the drinking session continues, Leo internally strategizes how to get through this situation without revealing his identity. He decides to try and get Echidna drunk. This tactic, he hopes, will make her less observant and easier to deceive. During their conversation, Echidna reveals that her true goal is to obtain the Philosopher's Stone, which is kept in the sacred city of Renai. This revelation surprises Leo, who had assumed her intentions were purely destructive. Echidna explains that the demon world is a barren wasteland, plagued by constant conflict. She dreams of using the Philosopher's Stone to transform it into a lush, peaceful realm. Her vision paints a picture of hope and renewal. She admits that her invasion of the human world was perhaps too aggressive and that she could have pursued other methods to obtain the stone. Her reflection shows a level of regret and a desire to find a better path forward. As they continue talking, Echidna takes Onyx to a balcony to show him the beautiful sunset, contrasting it with the bleakness of the demon world. The serene view underscores the stark differences between their worlds. Echidna reveals her complex feelings about the war with humans. She expresses that she doesn't truly hate humans and even admits to not holding a grudge against Leo, the hero who thwarted her plans. Her confession reveals a surprising depth of character and a longing for peace. Echidna asks Onyx about his own motivations for joining her cause. Leo, touched by her honesty and goals, considers revealing his true identity. He grapples with the risk, but feels an increasing connection to her mission. Just as Leo is about to confess, they are interrupted by urgent news. The interruption brings a sudden shift in mood, heightening the tension and suspense. The episode concludes with the revelation that two of Echidna's generals, Myrns, the Shadowless General, and Edward, the Dragon General, have deserted. This betrayal introduces new conflicts and challenges for both Echidna and Leo. The fifth episode begins with its title, "If you want to leave, say so first." This sets the tone for the themes of communication and honesty that will be explored throughout the episode. We find Leo and Myrns in conversation. Leo is trying to get Myrns to open up about his problems, acting as a supportive, older brother figure. This demonstrates Leo's empathetic approach to helping others. Myrns reveals that his age is troubling him. It's implied that he recently had a birthday, and there aren't many demons his age in the army. This highlights Myrns' feelings of isolation and insecurity. The scene shifts dramatically as Leo reads a letter from Myrns, stating his intention to leave. Myrns feels he has failed to train the soldiers and must atone with his life. This reveals the depth of Myrns' self-doubt and the extreme measures he's willing to take. Queen Echidna enters the scene, looking worse for wear. Despite her condition, she insists on helping to find Myrns, showing her dedication to her generals. Leo tracks Myrns using traces of his magic. He reflects on how Myrns and Edward seem to be doing well, but were actually hiding their problems. Leo catches up with Myrns and confronts him about his letter. He emphasizes how crucial Myrns is to the demon army, showing Leo's understanding of the bigger picture. In a pivotal moment, Leo tells Myrns that if he truly wants to leave, he won't stop him. However, he advises Myrns to think carefully about whether he'll regret his decision. This shows Leo's respect for individual choice while still offering guidance. Myrns finally opens up about his real problem. He's nervous about conducting interviews in 3 days. He feels he lacks the necessary communication skills. This reveals that Myrns' initial desire to leave was a drastic reaction to a manageable problem. Leo decides to help Murns improve his communication skills. They go undercover in the castle's dining hall, with Murns disguised as a waitress. Leo explains that this practical experience will help Murns learn to interact with others. We see Murns struggling with customer service, particularly with smiling. Leo coaches him, emphasizing the importance of facial expressions in communication. This shows the step-by-step process of learning social skills. A group of rowdy werewolf mercenaries causes trouble in the dining hall. Murns handles the situation calmly at first, trying to take their order professionally. When they become aggressive, he efficiently subdues them, demonstrating a balance of communication skills and strength. After their shift, Leo praises Murns for his handling of the situation. Murns is surprised to hear he did well, showing his lack of confidence in his abilities. For further practice, Leo suggests a role-play interview where Murns can ask him anything. This sets up the final scene of the episode. In a surprising turn, Murns asks Leo a pointed question about his true motives for joining the demon army. He references a previous statement Leo made about wanting to destroy humanity. This cliffhanger ending adds tension and raises questions about Leo's true intentions. The protagonist contemplates why he suddenly decided to share his story. He initially intended to give an interview to Murns as a joke, simply to reinforce what they've learned and practice communication skills. However, he finds himself unexpectedly drawn into a more serious conversation. Murns confronts the protagonist, asking if his claim about wanting to destroy humanity was a lie. The protagonist is surprised by Murns' perceptiveness, noting that he expected such a question from Shutina instead. Murns' sharp insight indicates his deep curiosity and concern. The protagonist attempts to deflect by praising Murns' communication skills and offering a humorous reward. Murns, however, persists in his questioning. His determination reveals his desire to understand the protagonist's true intentions. Murns asks why the protagonist hasn't already exterminated humans if that was his goal. He points out that the protagonist was betrayed by the very people he protected. The conversation shifts as Murns reveals he's seen glimpses of the protagonist's past. He recounts that the protagonist is half human, half demon, and was sold into slavery by his parents due to superstition. This revelation adds depth to the protagonist's backstory and personal struggles. Murns shares his own backstory, explaining how he joined the demon army out of a desire to see humanity destroyed. However, he soon realized the demons weren't evil as he had initially thought. His change in perspective illustrates his growth and evolving understanding. The scene transitions to a flashback of the demon army's conquest. Surprisingly, they're shown distributing food to humans and celebrating with them, contrary to Murns' expectations of violence. This moment contrasts sharply with Murns' previous beliefs about the demon army's nature. Back in the present, Murns recalls asking the protagonist why he joined the demon army. The protagonist gives a vague answer, leaving Murns unsatisfied. Murns' frustration underscores his quest for genuine understanding. Murns presses further, sensing there's more to the protagonist's story. He insists on hearing the truth. His insistence reflects his commitment to uncovering the full story. The protagonist begins to reveal his true history. He describes a world from long ago, with advanced technology and no magic, where demons suddenly appeared through a portal in Tokyo. This historical context provides a backdrop for understanding his complex past. He explains how he was created as part of a series of living weapons called Demon Heart to combat the demon threat. He was designed to protect humanity and save the human world. This detail adds a layer of purpose to his actions and motivations. The protagonist continues his story, describing how he outlived the other Demon Heart warriors and continued fighting for humanity across centuries, even as the world changed from technological to magical. His longevity and persistence highlight his dedication and resilience. He reveals that when humans recently rejected him, he felt happy rather than sad. It gave him the freedom to stop being a hero and start a new life. This shift in emotion shows a significant change in his outlook and desires. Murns struggles to understand the protagonist's story, especially the vast timescale involved. The protagonist explains that he's over 1,000 years old. Murns' confusion reflects the enormity of the protagonist's experience and lifespan. The protagonist concludes by saying he joined the demon army not to destroy humanity, but because he genuinely likes Echidna and the other demons. He wants to help them achieve their goals. This declaration reveals his true allegiance and personal connections. The episode ends with the protagonist reflecting on Murns' potential as a mediator, hinting at future developments in their relationship and roles within the demon army. This conclusion sets the stage for evolving dynamics and deeper interactions between the characters. The 7th episode opens with a sense of confusion or surprise, as someone exclaims, "What the?" This is quickly followed by another character asking, "What's that?" setting up a mysterious or unexpected situation. We hear a wise statement from Leo: "A good warrior is not always a good leader." This sets the tone for the episode's theme about leadership and strength. Immediately after, Juliet expresses frustration with her father, saying he always measures everyone by his own standards. Leo acknowledges Juliet's anger but encourages her to calm down and have some tea from Radadola. The main character then asks Juliet to summarize what she heard from General Edward, suggesting they're discussing a recent event or conversation. Juliet mockingly imitates General Edward's reaction to his soldiers' defeat by an archmage. She portrays him as calling the soldiers pathetic rabble and worthless wimps, while dramatically declaring that he must kill himself to redeem this failure. This reveals Edward's extreme and potentially problematic leadership style. Leo questions whether Edward's death would actually solve the problem, pointing out that soldiers won't get stronger that way. This shows Leo's more rational approach to the situation. Juliet explains that her father has decided not to commit suicide for now. She then describes the dangerous nature of arch-chimeras and how the newly hired demon soldiers are inexperienced and untrained, making them no match for these powerful creatures. Leo questions the decision to send recruits against such a powerful enemy, showing his strategic thinking and concern for the soldiers' well-being. Juliet explains that her father is strong and expects others to be the same. The scene shifts to a conversation with Queen Echidna, where it's revealed that Edward has quit his position as Dragon General. However, rather than leaving the demon army, he has demanded to be demoted to private so he can train with his subordinates. We hear Edward rallying his seniors to hunt down and kill strong creatures to become stronger, showing his continued focus on gaining power through combat. The scene changes again, introducing a new element, Leo's little brother, which is revealed to be a machine-age artifact called a mechanical golem. This golem, named Phantom 9, is described as being more powerful than the Arch-Chimera and was specifically created to fight high-ranking demons. Leo decides to use the mechanical golem, setting the stage for the upcoming battle. The mechanical golem has invaded the demon camp and engaged in battle. Edward, still acting as general, orders a counterattack. This sudden attack tests Edward's leadership in a crisis. Edward encourages his soldiers to face the mechanical golem, but they begin to retreat, claiming their weapons are useless against it. Edward insists they should at least try to distract or confuse the enemy if they can't attack directly. The mechanical golem unexpectedly stops, causing confusion. Leo worries that sentries underground might have damaged it, showing concern for the plan going awry. The golem suddenly activates a powerful reflector beam, demonstrating its formidable capabilities. The attack's intensity surprises everyone, melting the hull of a nearby structure. Leo expresses his determination not to let anyone get hurt, revealing his protective nature despite orchestrating this confrontation. Juliet joins the battle, offering to help her father. Edward initially refuses her assistance, insisting that he and Leo can handle the situation. This shows Edward's protective nature, but also his reluctance to accept help. Juliet provides crucial information about the golem's weak spot on its right side, demonstrating her knowledge and value in the battle. Edward, with Leo's encouragement, follows Juliet's advice and successfully damages the golem. The situation suddenly escalates as 3 more mechanical golems appear, overwhelming Edward and the others. This twist raises the stakes of the battle significantly. Queen Echidna arrives with her advisors, taking charge of the situation. She orders Shatina to prepare a magical barrier, Myrns to evacuate civilians, and Lily to check for more golems. This demonstrates Echidna's leadership and strategic thinking in a crisis. Echidna confronts the mechanical golems, introducing herself as the Demon Queen and unleashing a powerful Inferno attack. This showcases her strength and authority. The scene shifts back to Leo and Edward. Leo begins to berate Edward for his lack of knowledge about advanced weapons and combat techniques, deliberately using the same harsh tone that Edward had used with his own soldiers earlier. Leo's harsh words trigger a flashback of Edward berating his own soldiers for their inability to defeat a chimera. This parallel helps Edward realize how his own leadership style has been flawed. Juliet intervenes, asking Leo to stop insulting her father. She points out that Leo's knowledge isn't universal and that it's unfair to expect everyone to know how to fight an enemy they've never encountered before. Juliet explains that a good commander should start with the basics and gradually build up when training soldiers. This lesson in effective leadership and teaching seems to resonate with Edward. Edward has a moment of realization, suggesting he's understood the lesson Leo and Juliet were trying to teach him. In a touching scene, Edward apologizes to his soldiers for calling them lazy, admitting that he was the one who needed to put in more effort as their leader. This shows significant character growth and humility from Edward. The soldiers respond positively to Edward's apology, asking him not to leave and expressing their admiration for him. They promise to try harder if he continues to coach them, demonstrating the strong bond between a leader and their followers. The scene shifts back to Queen Echidna's battle with the mechanical golems. She unleashes a series of powerful magical attacks, showcasing her strength and determination. Echidna's advisors watch her battle, noting that she needs to blow off some steam, and it's best to leave her alone. The 8th episode begins with a conversation between Shutina and Leo. Shutina informs him about an upcoming meeting where Queen Echidna is expected to appoint the main character as a general. This sets the stage for an important event in the demon hierarchy. The conversation takes a serious turn as Shutina mentions that Murns has revealed something about the Leo's reasons for joining their group. This introduces an element of intrigue and potential deceit within the demon ranks. The scene shifts to a different conversation, involving Leo, who is reading a book titled Eyebrat Obliterator. This book is noted to be frequently read by Her Majesty, referring to Queen Echidna, which might be significant to the plot. Leo and Shutina have a discussion about the possibility of obtaining the Philosopher's Stone. The scene abruptly changes to what seems to be an interrogation or confrontation. A character, possibly a demon, vehemently denies accusations of trying to take over humanity. This suggests a conflict or misunderstanding between demons and humans. The demon explains that they've seen enough war and destruction in their own world. This revelation provides insight into the demon's motivations for coming to the human world, painting them in a more sympathetic light. When questioned about their presence in the human world, the demon reveals that the Demon King's experiments created a great spiritual portal connecting their worlds. This explains how the demons arrived and sets up the central conflict of the story. The demon describes their arrival in the human world as a form of immigration, driven by curiosity and the belief that conditions might be better than in their own realm. This further develops the complexity of the demon's motivations. The demon explains the difficulty of entering the human world, mentioning the need for catalysts and mana to keep the portal stable. This information provides context for the rarity and significance of demons crossing over to the human world. The conversation takes on a more urgent tone as the demon seems to be trying to keep their interrogator talking, possibly to avoid being killed. This adds tension to the scene and highlights the precarious situation the demon finds themselves in. The demon continues to explain, describing the human world as insanely interesting and emphasizing its peace and quiet. This contrasts with the implied chaos of the demon world, further explaining their desire to stay in the human realm. The interrogator suggests that the demon's appearance has ended the days of peace in the human world. This statement encapsulates the central conflict of the story, the disruption caused by the demon's arrival. The demon expresses frustration with the endless warfare in the demon world, particularly criticizing their leader, Belial, for settling all disputes with violence. This provides more insight into the demon's society and their reasons for seeking refuge in the human world. The name Belial is recognized as part of human culture, suggesting some previous connection or knowledge transfer between the two worlds. This adds depth to the world building and hints at a longer history of interaction between humans and demons. The scene becomes tenser as the demon narrator internally panics about keeping their interrogator's interest. The sound of a sword is mentioned, adding to the threat of violence and increasing the stakes of the conversation. The interrogator, seemingly bored with the explanation, suggests standing up and taking a walk. This unexpected turn increases the tension and uncertainty of the situation for the demon narrator. The interrogator asks about King Belial's reasons for opening the Great Spirit Portal. This question drives the conversation towards revealing more about the demon's arrival and their true intentions. The demon explains that the wars in their world are fought over scarce resources, and that Belial opened the portal supposedly to a deserted island in the human world. This reveals the initial plan and how it went awry. The demon describes their surprise when the portal opened in the center of Tokyo instead of a deserted location. This mishap led to immediate conflict with humans due to aggressive demon types attacking, explaining how the current situation arose. A dramatic moment occurs as the demon realizes the portal is closing, trapping them in the human world. This reveals that the demon's arrival wasn't just a simple immigration, but potentially a calculated move by their leadership to abandon them in the human world. The demon concludes that Belial and the other leaders had planned all along to leave them to die in the human world. This realization adds a layer of betrayal to the demon's predicament and potentially aligns their interests more closely with humans. The interrogator asks about the possibility of Belial attempting to colonize the human world. The demon confirms this likelihood, citing the humans' relative weakness compared to demons. This sets up the larger threat looming over the human world. The demon reveals that Belial's spies likely returned to the demon world before the portal closed, probably to report on the human world's defenses. This information escalates the threat, suggesting an imminent large-scale invasion. The demon explains the power difference between humans and demons, stating that it takes at least 3 humans to fight one devil. This information highlights the challenge humans face in defending against the demons. The interrogator states that they're not capable of empathy but understand the demon's explanation. This cryptic response hints at the interrogator's true nature, which is revealed later. The demon narrator internally resigns themselves to waiting for death, suggesting they've given up hope of survival. This moment of despair emphasizes the gravity of their situation. The demon continues to explain their motivations for coming to the human world, describing it as brighter and cleaner compared to the ruins and graves of their own world. This paints a vivid picture of the contrast between the two realms. In a moment of desperation, the demon asks the interrogator to finish them off. This shows how hopeless they feel about their situation. Unexpectedly, the interrogator thanks the demon for the valuable information and decides not to kill them. This sudden turn of events brings relief and confusion to the demon. The interrogator offers to accompany the demon to the containment squad, showing a level of consideration that surprises the demon. This marks a potential shift in their relationship. The demon internally reflects on the strange nature of the interrogator, noting that they seem neither human nor demon. This observation builds suspense about the interrogator's true identity. The interrogator comments on the demon's surprising level of understanding, hinting at a more complex view of demons than initially suggested. They then offer to place the demon in the Shinjuku defense block, showing an unexpected level of consideration. As they near the containment squad camp, the demon becomes increasingly nervous about the prolonged silence. This internal struggle highlights the tension and uncertainty of their situation. In an attempt to break the uncomfortable silence, the demon asks for the interrogator's name. This simple question leads to a significant revelation about the interrogator's identity. The interrogator finds the demon's logic strange, but seems somewhat affected by it. This moment hints at a potential connection forming between them despite their different natures. The demon introduces himself as a Brad, a son of the demons of the Dark Valley. This formal introduction marks a turning point in their interaction, moving from interrogation to a more personal exchange. In response, the interrogator reveals his identity. He is an anti-devil self-developing bioweapon called Leo, part of the Demon Heart series. This shocking revelation explains his earlier behavior and lack of empathy. The scene shifts to Shibuya Station, where they encounter the containment squad. Brad makes a passionate declaration about finding a way to reconcile their peoples and teach everyone about peace. In his final words to Leo, Brad encourages him to live life on his own terms and not be bound by his programmed purpose. The scene jumps to June 2060 in Tokyo, where Leo appears to have taken Brad's advice to heart. He has decided to live life on his own terms. The episode ends with Leo planning to reveal his true identity to Queen Echidna, explaining that he's not Lord Onyx but Leo. Queen Echidna is reading an important decree, announcing that Dark Knight Onyx's temporary status in the Demon Army is being elevated to 5th General. This appointment is particularly significant as they hope Onyx can help negotiate with humanity and retrieve the Philosopher's Stone. A crisis erupts as breaking news arrives about the spiritual portal closing. The situation is dire as they're running out of crystalline catalysts needed to keep the portal open. The situation has become critical, with Shatina and Lord Onyx managing to temporarily stabilize the portal. During this tense moment, a character named Lily is caught eating cookies at an inappropriate time. The gravity of the situation is explained. If the spiritual portal closes, they won't be able to return. Shatina explains that opening a new portal could take centuries or even millennia, during which the demon world will continue to suffer. They must make crucial decisions within the next 7 days. Shatina presents 2 options to handle the crisis. Either retreat to the demon world before the portal closes, which would mean disbanding their army, or launch an immediate attack on Renea to take the Philosopher's Stone by force. The second option is quickly dismissed as suicide due to their weakened army in the presence of a powerful enemy, Leo Demonheart. Queen Echidna makes the difficult decision to disband the army and retreat to the demon world. She acknowledges that returning without the Philosopher's Stone will shake her authority and likely lead to a power struggle. The queen shows vulnerability, thanking her subjects for their support while trying to maintain her dignity. A shocking revelation occurs when it's disclosed that there are actually 2 Philosopher's Stones, not just one. This information presents a potential opportunity for peace between the worlds. However, the conversation takes an unexpected turn. The biggest twist of the episode occurs when Lord Onyx reveals his true identity. He has been Leo in disguise all along. He explains that he came to evaluate if Echidna was worthy to wield the Philosopher's Stone's power, and claims to know the location of the second stone. The episode shifts to show Echidna and Leo's subsequent interaction, which has become tense and antagonistic. Echidna is deeply distrustful of Leo's claims about the stone's location, while Leo defends his actions, explaining he had to deceive them to get an audience with Echidna. The episode concludes with Echidna expressing intense frustration at not having recognized Leo's true identity earlier, berating herself for missing the signs. She's particularly infuriated that Leo survived her Inferno attack, showing the complex dynamics between these 2 characters. The other demons rush to Leo's defense. Lily, Shatina, and others speak up about how Leo has helped them while disguised as Lord Onyx, from improving logistics to helping reduce workloads. Even the cafeteria staff benefited from his influence. Their heartfelt pleas move Echidna to reluctantly forgive his deception. Leo reveals that the second Philosopher's Stone can be found in the Seshet Mountains, which is surprisingly close by. He mentions a powerful guardian, which makes the others nervous, but they decide to face this challenge together. The group embarks on their journey to the mountains. The cold weather affects some members, particularly Lily, who's from the south. Shatina helps by casting a warming spell, and suggests that Lily should learn some spells herself. During the journey, Leo reveals his true purpose for making them walk instead of teleporting. He wanted to talk with Echidna about passing on the responsibility of the Philosopher's Stone. He explains that the stone isn't a magical wish-granting artifact, but rather requires specific knowledge of Akasha engines to operate properly. A stunning revelation occurs when Leo discloses his true nature. He's actually the 5th model of the Demon Heart series, a living weapon created over 3,000 years ago to fight King Belial. He explains his ability to evolve and grow stronger by copying enemy techniques, and that he doesn't age or die. Leo shares a deeply personal confession about his existence. His core programming to protect humanity has begun to conflict with his evolution ability. He fears that eventually, he will break down and become a threat to the very world he's meant to protect, potentially becoming worse than any demon army. The group reaches their destination, but there's a shocking twist. There is no guardian. Instead, Leo reveals that he himself has the Philosopher's Stone. It's his heart, an Akasha engine that powers the Demon Heart series soldiers. He challenges Echidna to kill him and take it if she truly wants to save her world. Leo dramatically resigns from the demon army and positions himself as an enemy that must be stopped. He threatens to kill humans and destroy all instructions for using the stone if they try to run away. The episode ends with Leo challenging them to prove their resolve by stopping him, setting up a powerful confrontation. The 10th episode opens with a discussion about a hero who protects the human world. His power is described as immeasurable, having defeated numerous powerful enemies. This sets the stage for the formidable challenge the characters are about to face. A young echidna dismisses the fears about this hero, confidently stating that she would defeat him if they ever met. Her youthful bravado contrasts with the seriousness of the situation, showcasing her early determination. The scene shifts to a later time. Echidna, now older, is challenged to prove her resolve to save the demon world and establish peace between demons and humans. This challenge highlights the evolution of her character and her enduring commitment to her cause. We see Leo, the hero, declaring that he will save the world even if he has to destroy it first. This declaration reveals the depth of his conviction and the drastic measures he is willing to take. A battle begins, with Leo attacking his former allies. He explains that he was created solely to protect the world, and that's all he lives for. His relentless focus on his mission becomes apparent as he turns against those he once fought alongside. Leo reveals his plan to destroy the world so that he can then save it, giving himself a purpose again. This twisted logic underscores the complexity of his character and the extremity of his actions. His allies try to reason with him, but Leo refuses to listen and continues his attack. Their attempts to reach him emotionally highlight the tragedy of his current path. The heroes use various magical attacks against Leo, but he easily withstands them. Their efforts seem futile, showcasing Leo's overwhelming power. It becomes clear that Leo's true power far exceeds what his allies had previously seen. This revelation raises the stakes of the battle and emphasizes the gravity of their situation. Leo's attacks become more brutal, seriously injuring Edvard and others. The increasing violence and casualties demonstrate the dire consequences of the conflict. The fight continues, with Leo easily countering all of their attacks and strategies. His adaptability and strength seem insurmountable, adding to the tension. Echidna realizes that Leo's special ability of rapid learning applies to his defenses as well, making him increasingly difficult to harm. This insight gives her a new perspective on how to confront him. Echidna decides to use a secret spell passed down through Demon Kings, asking Shatina to buy her 42 seconds. This strategic decision shows her leadership and the gravity of the situation. We see a flashback of Echidna receiving information about this spell from the former Demon King. This backstory provides context and depth to her knowledge and preparedness. Back in the present, Echidna confronts Leo, revealing that she has figured out his true motivations. Her understanding of him adds an emotional layer to their confrontation. Echidna prepares to use the secret spell, called Anti-Leo, as a last resort to stop him. The naming of the spell and its intended use highlight the desperation and seriousness of their situation. The episode ends with high tension, as Echidna attempts to use this powerful spell against the seemingly invincible Leo. This cliffhanger leaves viewers on the edge of their seats, eager to see the outcome of this critical battle. The 11th episode opens with a tense battle scene. We hear a character shouting, "You're the one who's going to die now," followed by the incantation of a hero-suppressing spell called Anti-Leo. The intensity of the moment is palpable, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation. We're introduced to Leo, the protagonist, as he reflects on his 3,000-year journey as a hero. He recalls his initial purpose, to protect humanity from evil. In the early days, Leo felt needed and useful, fighting alongside allies and defeating powerful enemies. This retrospective offers insight into his long history and the burden of his role. As peace persisted, Leo began to lose his sense of purpose. He found himself longing for conflicts, just to have a reason to be a hero again. This internal struggle led to errors in his programming, highlighting the psychological toll of his eternal mission. Leo describes how he traveled the world, fighting in various conflicts to maintain his hero status. With each battle, he grew stronger, eventually becoming an unstoppable, immortal bioweapon. His narration reveals the relentless nature of his existence and his insatiable need for purpose. During a particularly long period of peace, Leo's desires became twisted. He contemplated creating chaos in the world, just so he could be needed as a hero again. This dark thought process showcases the extent of his desperation and the moral conflict he faces. Leo reveals that he recreated heroes from 300 years ago, intending to have them attack humanity so he could save it. However, he realized the horrific nature of his plan. This realization adds depth to his character, showing his awareness of the consequences of his actions. Struggling with guilt, Leo decides to find a worthy successor to take his place as the world's protector. He embarks on a journey to meet the demon queen Echidna. His quest for redemption and purpose leads him to seek out someone who can carry on his legacy. Leo joins Echidna's forces, working alongside her and her generals. He aims to evaluate if Echidna can be trusted with his power and if she can bridge the gap between the human and demon worlds. This alliance is crucial to his plan and adds complexity to the narrative. The scene shifts to a crucial battle. Echidna casts a powerful spell to suppress Leo's abilities, leaving him vulnerable for the first time in centuries. The stakes are high as Leo faces an unprecedented threat. As Leo is immobilized, he reflects on his long life and the loneliness he's experienced. He realizes that what he truly wanted was for someone to accept him as he is, regardless of his hero status. This moment of introspection reveals his deepest desires and vulnerabilities. Echidna and her generals attempt to save Leo, showing that they care for him beyond his role as a hero. Leo is moved by their efforts and begins to regret his decision to die. Their actions demonstrate the strength of their bond and the potential for reconciliation. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, with Leo's fate uncertain as Echidna and her generals rush to save him. The unresolved tension leaves viewers eagerly anticipating the next episode. The 12th episode begins with Leo admitting defeat. He reflects on his loss, describing it as a wonderful feeling. This sets the tone for the revelations to come about Leo's true intentions. The scene shifts to a confrontation between Leo and the demon generals. They accuse him of not fighting at full strength and realize he had planned to lose the battle all along. Leo confirms this, explaining he hoped they would kill him before he could harm anyone. A flashback occurs, recalling a previous conversation where Leo was asked about his motivations for joining the demons. This moment foreshadows the complex nature of Leo's actions and intentions. Leo reveals he has used an emergency system lockdown to cut off his body from the energy of the Philosopher's Stone. He gives the demons a limited time to extract it, essentially offering his life to save their world. Lily, a young demon girl, desperately pleads for Leo's life, showing the emotional bonds that have formed despite Leo's supposed villainy. Her heartfelt plea adds depth to the relationships within the group. The demons, particularly Echidna, begin to understand that Leo never intended to kill anyone or destroy their worlds. They realize he's making a voluntary sacrifice for peace and the greater good. As the countdown continues, Leo apologizes to the demons for any harm he's caused, further emphasizing his true nature and regrets. In a surprising turn of events, Echidna decides not to kill Leo. Instead, she officially hires him as a mediator between the demon and human worlds, recognizing his unique position as a 3,000-year-old being who has seen both sides. The other demons, including Lily, join in supporting Leo's survival, each giving their reasons why he should live. This support causes Leo to question his own motivations and the programming that has driven him for millennia. In a pivotal moment, Leo manages to override his core programming to protect humanity from evil, realizing that this directive may have been self-imposed rather than an unbreakable command. Echidna offers Leo a new purpose, to stop being a hero and join her, finding a new meaning in life beyond his previous role. She sees potential in Leo to bridge the gap between their worlds. The scene transitions to a later time, with Leo now working alongside the demons. He and Echidna discuss his decision to stay and help her achieve peace between demons and humans, marking a significant shift in his life. The episode concludes with Leo fully integrated into the demon army, helping to manage various issues within their realm. He reflects on how he has finally stopped being a hero after thousands of years and found true friends he can trust, bringing a sense of closure to his long journey. If you like it, give a like and subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.